This is what we are building today, a memo game in React where you need to find pairs. Okay, so we start by creating our React app. So npx create React app memo game, enter. Okay, now let's start our app. So yarn start. Okay, now let's go to our source and app.js and let's remove all this. And let's just remove, let's just leave an empty div like this. Now let's check those imports. We don't need this logo. And in app CSS, we can remove everything. Now I will add all memes images I have prepared. As you can see, there's 18 of them because the biggest board can be 6 by 6, so it's 36 divided by 2 because there will be pairs, so it's 18. Okay, now back to app.js, and we need to start by creating an array with all the images. So let's create a new component here called images.js, and in here I will import all those images. So let's do import. Okay, now I want to export all of them as an array. So export default, and now let's do image. Now let's go back to app.js and let's import our images. Now let's try to display one image. So let's do img source images first, like this. And yes, we have the image. All right. Okay, now let's create the board with all the cards or the images. So let's do board, and inside let's do card outer times 36, and inside card outer there will be card, and in every card there will be front and the back side, like this. Oops, front and the back side, like this. Now let's go app CSS to add some styles. So body, let's do background color of 123. Okay, now for the board, the width will be 100% of the height, and the max width will be 100% of possible width of the view, and display will be grid, and grid gap between the cards, all the images, will be 10 pixels. And let's maybe add also some margin, so 20 pixels should be okay, and auto from the sides. And of course let's set some columns. So grid template columns will be, let's do repeat 6 times 1fr. So now every card will have a background color. Let's say it will be 357. Let's add some border radius of, let's say, 5 pixels. Now let's add some height of, let's do this by calculating all the possible space and dividing it by 6, but max height can be also calculated. View width divided by 6, so it will be squares, yes. But now we need to also, let's maybe remove this 20 pixels margin here, and let's add it to body as a padding instead, so it will be on every side here, from the top and the bottom, and from the left and right. Now as you can see, there is some horizontal scrolling here, and this is because we need to update the width of the board, so it will be calculate, and we need to do minus 40 pixels, same here, and this is because we have 20 pixels on each side. Now those are not squares anymore, so we need to remove some pixels also from here. So let's do minus 90 pixels, I guess, because it's 10 here, 20, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50 plus 20 is 70, and plus 20 here is 90. Yeah, so it's 90 minus 90 pixels. And let's put those like this. Yeah, now we have squares. Okay, now let's try to put some images into those squares. So back to app.js, and as you can see, we have a lot of cards here, but we have also an array of our memes. So I will remove actually all of the cards, and I will leave only one. Oops. Yeah, I removed the closing div of the board. Yeah, now I will import use state from React, and I will create here state for our cards. So let's do const cards set cards equals use state, and now the default value will be a new array of 36 elements, and this whole array we want to fill it with null. And now let's loop through this array. So inside our board, let's do cards map, and inside cards we have this specific card, but we will probably also need index, so let's also add index here. And now this card outer, let's put it here. Now we have back these 36 cards. Okay, but now we want to have those images inside those squares or inside those cards. So let's remove this empty array of 36 elements, and let's put our images here instead. Okay, but now we have only 18 of images, so let's do this thing again. We'll put images times 2. All right, now the front of the card will be the image. So let's do image, and the source will be card, like this. Now let's go back to our app CSS, and let's do card, front, image, display. Let's do block, max width, let's do 100%. Now it's much better, but the corners are not rounded because we need to do overflow hidden. Okay, now it's perfect. Okay, but now the problem is that all those images are sorted. So this first, second, third, fourth, and we want to shuffle the array of all those images or randomize the order of the images. So let's go back to app CSS, and this array, we want to shuffle this array. So to do this, I will use lodash library. So yarn add lodash, and I will use shuffle from lodash. So import shuffle from lodash, and this array we want to shuffle it first like this. And as you can see, it worked. Now the back of every card will be an empty div, so I'll just put it like this. And now let's go back to our app CSS to hide all the pictures or all the memes by rotating or flipping those cards to the back. So let's start by creating some perspective. So inside our card outer, let's do perspective and 1000 pixels. All right, and here actually we need to move this height and max height back to card outer, because it's the card outer that is the direct child of the board. Okay, like this. Now the card position should be relative, and width should be 100%, and height should be also 100%. Now let's do back of our card red for now, background color red, and let's transform it by rotating in Y by 180 degrees. and same with the card, like this, and transform style preserve 3D. Let's remove this overflow hidden, and now both card front and card back should be position absolute with 100% and have also 100%, and back face visibility should be hidden. Okay, now we just need to remove this background color of the card, and now we have red of the back of the card, and on the front we have this image. So now let's do that when someone hovers on the card outer, so card outer hover, then the card we will do transform rotate Y to back to 0%, but let's also add some transition so it will be smooth 0.3 seconds. Now let's see. Yeah, it works. Now let's use something else instead, this red color, maybe 4, 6, 8, like this. Okay, but we don't want to have on hover, so let's instead do flipped. So if there is flipped class on the card outer, then it will be flipped to the front with the image. Alright, now let's go back to app.js. And the next thing is that we want to make those cards clickable. So when we click on one, it will flip back to the front, so we will see the image. So let's define this in our app. So let's do function flip card, and we will need index here to know which card is it. And on every card outer, we can do now on click, and we will run flip card function with the index of this current card. So now here we want to save what card we have flipped to update our state. So let's do const active cards and set active cards, and the default state will be an empty array. And here let's for now just do set active cards, and we will put this index here as a new array, and here we need to make a string out of this, and let's add a new class at only if our current index is inside active cards. So if active cards index of index is different than -1, then we want to add a string that is flipped, otherwise nothing. And we will need to put an extra parenthesis here. Alright, now when we click, it opens. Let me just make the formatting better. Okay, now we want to have two cards open at the same time. So here, when we flip a card, if active cards length is 0, then we add this index to active cards. But if it's 1, then we want to do set active cards, the current active cards, and the index. So if there is one card that is already open, we will destruct this array to put it back here, and we will add also this index. If active card length is 2, then we want to make those active cards empty. Let's see. Yeah, but we need to make another click to hide it. Okay, now it's better. So if there are no active cards, then we put this index as inside active cards, like this. If there is one active card, like it's now, then we put active cards back to active cards, but we add the current index. So if I click now, the active cards was this, and the new index was this one. And if there are two active cards, like it is now, then we will set active cards to the new index. So if I click this, this is the new index here, and this will be replaced here and put here inside active cards. Okay, but now I want to do that if I find the same cards, I want them to stay. So here, if active cards is 2, then I want to save this match. So let's maybe add some state here, found matches, and set found matches use state, and the default will be an empty array. Okay, so if there are two active cards, before resetting them to the new index, I want to see if the images behind those cards are the same. So the first index is active cards of 0, and second index is active cards of 1, and I would const here and const here. And now inside our cards, we need to check those two indexes. So let's do if cards of first index is the same as cards second index, then let's do for now alert you found a pair. Now let's try to find a pair. Okay, you found a pair, but I get this message not after I click the second pair, but after I do the next move. So instead of checking that on the next click, I should move this first index and the second index here, but the second index will be actually the current index. So like this. And now let's also move this if here. So if active cards length is 1, so we have one card selected, but there is another one coming in that we would like to add to our active cards, then we first check if those cards are the same, and then we alert you found the pair, and then we set active cards to the previous active card and the new index of the new active card. So let's check. Yeah, you found the pair. Okay, and we have two active cards. So if someone finds a pair, then we want to save it inside our found matches. Or maybe let's rename this to found pairs. So if there's a pair found, we want to do set found pairs, and here will be an array of all indexes that should be visible the whole time. So it will be an array of indexes. So let's do here, let's distract the current found pairs, and we want also here to add the first index and the second index. So let's do first index and second index. Now we need to use this found pairs to make them visible. Right now we are showing the card only if it's active, but instead we should also check if it's inside our found pairs. So to do this, I will for now cut this part, and in here I will do a function of this, and let's return this div. Let's do here const flipped to front, and this will be true if it's active, and let's put it here, flipped to front, or if it's inside our found pairs. So found pairs index of index is different than -1. Now let's try. Okay, here is Tom. Okay, here is the second Tom. Okay, so if I find a pair, it stays. Okay, so the game works now, and one other feature I want to add is to display the amount of clicks that someone have clicked. Let's define it here, const clicks, and set clicks will be use state. Default will be 0, and on every flip card we will do also set click. It will be clicks like this, and it will be clicks +1. And here under the board, let's do clicks, and let's display the amount of clicks. It's black now and it's small, so let's do div stats, and let's put it here. And back to our app CSS, let's do stats, color, let's do white, some padding of maybe 20 pixels from the top and the bottom, and 0 from the sides, and bigger font size. Yeah. Okay, another thing is that when someone finds all the pairs, we want to show some successful message, you won the game, or something like this. So let's do const won and set won, and use state, and default will be false. And here, if someone found a new pair, I want to check if amount of found pairs, so found pairs length, +2, because there are 2 new pairs coming, is the same as cards length. Then we know that all pairs have been found. So we can do set 1 to true, and maybe we can put it somewhere here instead. All right, so we show this stats here, but when someone wins the game, we want to do like this: if won, then let's add also you won the game, congratulations, and BR here. Oops, here. Let's also display the amount of pairs that are found pairs, and this is found pairs divided by 2, and I'll add some spacing here with no breaking space. Now the only last thing is that when someone wins the game, we want to reset the found pairs, and we will also want to reset the card so it will be randomized again. So here at the top of flip card, let's check that if someone won, so if won, then we want to reset cards, so set cards to this, to a new randomized array of cards. And we also need to reset found pairs, so let's do set found pairs to empty array, and set 1 to false. Okay, now I'll try to win this game. small bag here. It shouldn't be found pairs divided by 2 because this is an array. Instead it should be found pairs length like this. Alright, now it's better. Okay, and here we got it. You won the game, congratulations. Now I need to click something to reset everything. Yeah, but I forgot to reset clicks. So let's go back here, set clicks, and also to 0. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click the like button.